All right. I feel like we should be like CSL the sound. A lot of music here today. It sounds good. I don't know where that came from, but there you go. I shared it anyway. All right, so welcome everyone. I see some new faces out there. My name is Reverend Michael McMorrow. I am the senior minister here at our Center for Spiritual Living here in Granada Hills, California. And no, I'm not going to do that old joke. So, you'll have to ask me what it is. All right, so I'll tell you. If you're looking for O'Grady's, it's across the street.
Yes.
And it is football season. And the Rams are going to be beat by the Seattle Seahawks today for their inaugural Los Angeles game. Yes. So life is good all the time. All right, so we do have a little thing we like to do here called hugs and handshakes. So please take a moment to meet and greet each other in appropriate ways. So please help me welcome to the platform Suzanne Jensen, our presider this morning. And we'll let Ken introduce everybody else later on. All right. So as we batten down the hatches in the back there, I'll let Ian get situated. Don't trip. All right, we're all going to take a deep, conscious breath. Exhale, allowing ourselves to surrender to this eternal now moment as we come together for our call to service, which we call lighting the flames of faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this morning. So as Suzanne lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. The sixth candle we light for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. The seventh candle we light for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And the 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here at our center. And as Suzanne lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experience the healing flame of God's eternal love.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and I see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love.
Oh, I am grateful for knowing and experiencing firsthand this eternal now moment. I know this morning that everything and everyone is in their right and perfect place. And all that is said and done here today is just as it needs to be, perfect, whole, and complete. I'm grateful to experience and know all of the apparent other beings in this service as myself, to recognize the presence that is all there is in its myriad of forms. I give thanks for this peaceful morning, the good that we all share here today, the beauty, the bliss, the music and song, the word. I release my word to the action of the law in thankfulness for the miracle of knowing it is so. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. In this September issue of Science of Mind magazine, the focus is around joy. I think September is an excellent time for tapping into joy through the experience of the up-and-coming fall season. There's something powerful in the transformation of nature, letting go of what is no longer necessary and moving inward. There's joy in sensing the creative energy moving around. The old is passing away and the creating of something new coming into play. There is a certain quality in the air, an expectancy of good. The expectancy of good has a magical quality. It's creative, there's joy in it, and it's here for us if we awaken and tap into it. In the Big Science of Mind book, there's a treatment for peace that says, I live in an eternal now, which is filled with good alone. Goodness and beauty follow me, peace and joy accompany me. Happiness and wholeness fill my entire being with the realization of love and perfection. What is joy, actually? There's a quote from Science of Mind magazine that says, joy is the infallible sign of the presence of God. It is an inner awareness of spiritual reality, a state of being, a way of living from the inside out. How does joy present itself? Joy is present and available when we are fully engaged and aware in the moment with our entire being. When we are so fully living that time and space are transcended. I read in Science of Mind magazine something that describes very well an experience that I know we have all had at some time in our lives. There is that precious moment when you become aware that everything is aligned and all is right with your world, that nothing needs to be different at that moment, and that you are alive and awake in it. There's that experience of perfection of being. I think sometimes we make the mistake of thinking that we have to add something to life to experience joy, when in truth, joy is an inner reality that is always here, and we just need to tap into it by living fully and completely wherever we are. We all experience times when we are laughing and talking and being fully present with friends, and time goes by in a snap. A whole evening seems like a few minutes, a fully enjoyable time. I experienced that recently when I met my son at a restaurant for dinner. It was a spur-of-the-moment choice. He had just come directly from work, and I had come back from being out of town. And we had the best time talking and being present. There was an experience of flow. Suddenly we realized we had been at the restaurant for almost 3 hours, and we still weren't ready to leave. Looking back, I think I could describe it as the eternal now. There are many portals to our natural joyous state. The most obvious, accessible one is nature. For me, there is nothing better than being outside, taking a walk in a really nice park, or sitting and looking at the ocean, or even while I'm driving in my car, seeing the hills and the sky. Everything opens up. That connection with nature expands my consciousness. In reference to nature, the Science of Mind book has this to say: so close is the union of creation with the Creator that it is impossible to say where one begins and the other leaves off. Emerson tells us that nature is spirit reduced to its greatest thinness. Sometimes just stepping out my front door and experiencing that outer spaciousness puts me in direct touch with the depth of who I am, the joyfulness of being. Joy is accessible here and now where we are. Ernest Holmes has this to say: there is laughter of God, let's laugh it. There is a song of the universe, let's sing it. There is a hymn of praise, let's praise it. There's a joy, a beauty. There is a deep abiding peace, let's experience it. So I say, let's turn our awareness to joy, every day choosing a place of entrance by being present and living fully with our whole entire being. Have a wonderful Sunday.
Good morning, everyone. How you doing? Nice to see you. Please welcome Mr. Ian Solomon on the upright bass today. There. David will leave us on the keys and sax. And returning from their world tour is Barbara and Paul.
Small world. Small world.
I couldn't think of
Well
anything,
done.
sorry.
It's well done.
Okay.
We did tour.
Oh, probably are. Oh, yeah, it's on now. Okay. So now I count it off, right?
Yeah.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Deep is the water under my bridge, flowing, and short is the lifetime that I've lived, knowing, messing up and starting over again. Maybe all the breaks and the mistakes were the ones lungs to carry me here. This time I gotta get it right, gotta get it right now, gotta get it right this time. Lord knows I've let myself down too many times, many times. This time I gotta get it right now, gotta get it right this time. My life is passing me by, gotta take a deep breath. Get it right. Looking for answers, what have I missed? Someone. I wanna be so much better than this in the long run. Stepping forward and falling backwards again. When I get the breaks, will the young mistakes be the ones to carry me on? This time I gotta get it right now, gotta get it right this time. Lord knows I've let myself down too many times, many times. This time I gotta get it right now, gotta get it right this time. My life is passing me by, gotta take a deep breath. Get it right. I know I'll get there. Things will get better, better with every day. What lies behind me will not define me. I tell myself nothing can stop me now. Stop me. This time I gotta get it right now, gotta get it right this time. My life is passing me by, gotta take a deep breath. This time I gotta get it right now, gotta get it right this time. Lord knows I've let myself down too many times, many times. This time I gotta get it right now, gotta get it right this time. My life is passing me by, gotta take a deep breath. Get it right.
Thank you very much. Oh, Andrea, would you like to come up and read the announcements?
Well, you guys got it right this time, and you always do. It's wonderful to see you back here. Thank you for that wonderful song. Give them some more love, please. And I want to thank you for a wonderful talk. That was fantastic, and the joy that you talked about was just evidenced in the music and the joy that I felt in my heart. That opened me. Thank you. So did that talk. Thank you. Speaking of talking, I'm here to talk about some stuff that's going on here. First of all, I wonder if anybody here has been to any of the kirtan concerts that we've been doing. So we have one coming up on the 30th, which is a week from, it's this coming Friday?
I hope not.
Sorry? No, a week. It's in 2 weeks, basically. The 30th of September is our fourth kirtan concert. So hoping that you will find your way here to experience exactly what Suzanne was talking about and exactly what Paul and Barbara were singing about. The last kirtan concert, I was here and I felt there were moments of absolute bliss. Just pure bliss, as if I was touching the hem of the garment. So I invite you to come share that space with us on September 30th. Okay, here's the announcements. No? So in your program, thank you. Who said that? Thank you. In your program, you will have a list of some of the wonderful events that are taking place here. Classes have started or are starting this month. I mentioned the kirtan concert. We have healing support groups, bereavement support groups, animal kinship ministries. We have meditation groups, visioning, intention setting. Whatever you're looking for, honestly, we've got it here. So for a small community, we are absolutely mighty. And we invite you to come share some of the wonderful things that are going on here with us. We would love to see you in any capacity you feel like joining us, and we look forward to that very much. So is there anything I'm supposed to say that I'm not saying? You'll cover it. Okay, thanks.
Okay, so if we'll stand and recite the Declaration of Principles. We believe in one universal spirit, manifesting through all, natural and incarnated in us.
We believe that the universal spirit is
Personal to and reveals itself through everyone who recognizes its presence. We believe that our faith operates upon a law of mind, which automatically manifests in our experience according to that faith. We believe in the unity of all life and in the immortality of the individual soul forever expanding. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the givingness of life to all.
Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Yeah, get ready, my soul.
I like this old school anti-feedback device you have. That's awesome. It works, right? They probably sell a gizmo that costs $50 to do that, right?
I just dug through the attic.
Yeah, I dig it. So I wanted to bring your attention to Science Mind magazine. It's its 90th year. in publication now. So this is a magazine that Ernest Holmes, the founder of this teaching, started the magazine. And Mother Teresa made the cover. I imagine it's not the first time, but here she is. You know, they just made a saint out of her. Right? Even after they discovered that she was secretly baptizing Muslims and Hindus. I say, hey, you know, bring it on. It's good fire insurance, you know. Might as well cover all the bases. Right? I mean, you know, if you're harboring some belief that, well, maybe it does exist. Yeah, a little act of contrition to cover your bases at the end there. Like, yeah. Okay, so welcome everyone. I can hear there's some old Catholics out there. That's good. All right, so great to see you all here this morning. And I'd like to thank the band one more time and our singers. It's great to have Barbara and Paul back. It's been too long. Yeah, so let's make sure we fix that. Okay. Yeah, good. And so, yes, it is busy. It is a busy time of year, so you can check your program. And I'll just run over a few of the things. So Dr. Maureen started her class on exploring roots. You have one more Tuesday. You know, you can still join the class. It will close this Tuesday night. So if you've been kicking it around that you might want to join the class, better kick it on into gear and get in, sign up, and so we can have materials for you. And I believe, is it this week? I believe it's this week that Reverend Nancy begins her class of, is that right, this week? Yeah, so, and that is The Power of Decision, which is a very popular book and a very popular class in religious science. So if you've been sitting on something, if you're empty nested, if you're in a midlife crisis, if you're looking for a mate or looking to get rid of one, maybe this is the class for you. Not that I'm advocating that. So... And I would like to publicly again thank Dr. Tatsuo Hirano, who just finished, his 3-week presentation on Shen Mastery, Shen Gong, and it was a great class, and it won't be the last time, so keep an eye out for that. And I have a feeling you're going to pick up a few more clients out of that, or patients. So. And deservedly so. So yes, he will be back. And and I would like to just give another shout out for Reverend Nancy's class, because the materials are really good. But, you know, Reverend Nancy's a great teacher, and she's good. You know, you'll get the cure for what ails you. So, and as I have been speaking to now for the last couple of weeks, class is a great way to get connected, to connect with yourself, to connect to new friends, connect to the center, connect to Spirit itself. Because ultimately, going to class and deepening a connection with spiritual community can be the next step in spiritual unfoldment. Well, wait a minute, how can that be? I love nature. I see God in nature. I love going to yoga. I have a meditation practice. I love studying spiritual materials. I love to pray and communicate with Spirit. And while these are all wonderful examples of spiritual practice, to be sure, at the same time, they are all solitary activities. Right? So wait a minute, I go to the yoga studio. Well, if you're doing yoga properly, you're keeping your eyes on your own mat, right? So even that in a group activity is a solitary activity. So where our real work is, then, is not in a book or on the cushion, it's out in the world. So we put time on the cushion and do our study so we might better be of service to the world and to ourselves. So remember the old Zen story about a holy man, a hermit, who lived in a cave far above the village and sat in meditation, eating scarce water and food, and in a meditative state for years. And he decides to come down from the hill to visit the village finally, because now he's been enlightened. Of course, after all that time, you would be, right? And the first person he runs into, he has a screaming fit at. And then he realizes, oh, I got to go back up there and do some more work. And isn't this the way that it often is, even within our own practice? Right? So we do the work, and then we get in the car or we run into somebody and they trigger something within us and we're off to the races, yeah? So in spiritual community, we practice growing up all over each other. That we rub up against each other to make, I'm glad someone caught that, we rub up against each other to make the rough edges smooth and to find our way together, how to move from belief in a system, which according to Ken Wilber is the lowest form of religious involvement, to move from simply belief into a practice. So Ken Wilber is a modern philosopher, thinker, pretty brilliant guy. He writes this in his book, Sense and Soul. Belief is the lowest form of religious involvement, and in fact, often seems to operate with no authentic religious connection whatsoever. That's kind of harsh. The true believer embraces a more or less codified belief system that appears to act most basically as a fund of immortality symbols. Now, that is an interesting observation. So, the lowest form of spiritual involvement, belief, the true believer. So, as Jim Lockhart asks in his book, and I think that this observation is a call to this question: can you and I engage in blind faith in a world that is now increasingly technological, materialistic, and scientific, where linear thinking is the norm, and symbolic or metaphorical thinking has been diminished or devalued? So in many ways, if you think on this, and I'm sure many of you have, in many ways science has become the new religion, as it's stripped away mystery, mystery, mystery into fact, 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 so that we now believe that the world works in a Newtonian or mechanistic way. And yet, as science continues to uncover and discover that there is within this idea of the quantum field a much more mystical approach to life. In fact, scientists grope for ways to describe these new phenomena, to describe how we are, in fact, all energy. All energy. And that at the most basic units of life, that energy is in expression at all times. And so this begs the question, as many people like Dr. Hirano have explored, well, how to harness that energy. Dr. Holmes would call that spiritual mind treatment. So, energy being just another broad generalization for the infinite power of the universe. Another thing that I learned that was interesting is that photons and electrons have a very slight, infinitesimally small difference in their mass, right? And you would think that things would be perfectly balanced, but yet the physicists explain that to be, well, if everything was in perfect balance, then the whole thing would collapse, right? So the universe is working and shifting and evolving, working back and forth in this homeostasis, I guess. In the center is homeostasis, and yet in that seeming imbalance, in that seeming chaos, that things are working out just perfectly. That's from the view of a physicist, not a mystic, but it sure sounds like one, doesn't it? So, linear thinking is the norm, and symbolic or metaphorical thinking has been diminished or devalued. A world where the religious institutions seem to be losing their grip, unraveling, and reacting with increasing conservatism, dogmatism, even violence, over fear of losing the battle on whose definition of God or spirit reigns supreme. So I think with this idea of can you engage in a blind faith, I think the obvious answer for many is no. In fact, I would say the New Age movement of the 90s is kind of evidence to that. That all of the alternative remedies of the obvious and undeniable yearning within the hearts of millions of soul-weary seekers of truth who tried every available remedy. Of course, this too, as many of us have found, this too has its own challenges, as searchers are often moved from one system into the next, only to move on to the next big thing. So it's as if even spirituality can become just another consumable product, as illustrated here. So in modern life, you have truth, wisdom, character, honesty, but what's sold out? Right? The noisy, shiny crap. And I think that our spiritual practices can be subjected to this, that we're on to the next big thing. Because on some level, we have this core belief, well, this isn't it. This isn't it. And yet, within all of these practices, of course, there is truth, wisdom, character, honesty, just to name a few. And I know that for me, I would also add that I want a system that is not an insult to my God-given intelligence. For I believe that if nothing else, God is an expression of pure intelligence. So that ultimately we intuitively know there is one truth, one ultimate reality. We are infinite beings living in an infinite universe. All of life is supported wherever we are. The divine presence is ever and forever moving forward. That we are unique, individualized expressions in this physical world. So how does life change for us when we consider and then realize that we are an expression of divine presence, forever moving forward? First consider, then realize, and then in some way even accept the mantle, right? Accept the mantle of the Godhead expressing as each one of us. To me, that's kind of the final frontier. For me, I can see it for you, but I know where all my warts are. And I know many of you do too. So what we are seeing today is some real fraying within the systems that have fostered blind faith at any cost. Faith in business, faith in our financial institutions, faith in politics, faith in religion. You know, the three things you never talk about around the dinner table. And so in this way, the following words by Ernest Holmes seem really prophetic and even more pertinent today, some 50 years later, than when he wrote them. That a new light is coming into the world, that we are on the borderland of a new experience, The veil between spirit and matter is very thin. The invisible passes into visibility through our faith in it. A new science, a new religion, and a new philosophy are rapidly being developed. This is in line with the evolution of the great presence, and nothing can hinder its progress. It is useless as well as foolish to make any attempts to cover this principle or to hold it as vested in any religion, sect, or order. The truth wills out. The Spirit will make itself known. And happy are we if we see these things which from the foundation of the human race have been longed for and by all aspiring souls. This is Ernest Holmes out of our textbook on page 60. So we are infinite beings in an infinite universe. There will always be something more to understand and a bigger view to be had. We are not better than anyone else for what we know. So as much as I like to poke fun at mainline religions, I like to poke fun at our own as well and see how we too can be guilty of sanctimonious posing, right? Thinking that we know, we got the handle on this thing, right? The truth is that all of us, right, whether ministers or lay people or the guy hanging outside the 7-Eleven panhandling for coin, that we are all on an evolution of our full recognition and realization of the divine presence. And who knows, maybe that guy in front of the 7-Eleven is closer to it. I'm not really willing to explore that possibility in that quite that way. So what happens when we have a mindset like this is that then we come to respect and honor all beings. Right? And for me, even extending that out to animals. Right? So I remember when Reverend Kathy started her animal ministry, I was going, wow, really? Animal ministry? I probably never told you this. But then I came to see how people truly grieve for their four-legged friends. It's a real ministry. There is consciousness. I've come to see that there is consciousness in everything. The seeming inert rocks or minerals even, that there is a degree of livingness even within that. Right? So what we know about matter today is that it's mostly space. Right? So even a diamond, right? One of the hardest materials on this planet, the densest materials on this planet, is mostly space. Uranium-235, right? There's 235 protons in there and probably a few neutrons, I imagine. Right? That even within that, mostly space. Within us, mostly space. It's kind of trippy when you consider it. So what I know about this is that the inference or the implication then is that we are living in a multi-dimensional universe of which we know only a little. Right? We have all of these theories about the Big Bang and so forth, but these are used with instruments of detection beyond what we can see with the naked eye. So if this is so, and we continue to evolve in our ability to measure and detect and to quantify and to qualify. What this tells me is there is something, some basis of life that is so much greater than we are, and that we are the logical expression of it. And we are expressing consciously, at least when we do. Right? That we have consciousness. That I've come to see that animals in degrees have consciousness. That's why I'm so appreciative when fish find their way to my hook. I thank them and I release them and let them go. In fact, I even sing the song, I release and I... Just bring some of your brothers back with you. So the world does not need to be saved. It is perfect as it is. How can we say that? We can say that only as we look with the eyes of the infinite. That Emerson once said that the infinite lies in stretched repose. And that means always. So that when we see how perfectly life is set up here, we get what we need, and to give us the situations and conditions that will expand us, right? Not necessarily to give us what we want, but will give us that which we need for our continued expansion, that we can smile too. Knowing this for ourselves and everyone else doesn't mean that we don't help out where we are guided to lend a helping hand. It does mean that we must also not pity anyone, but rather everyone for who they really are and the work they chose to take on at a soul level. So this week I invite you to appreciate the different ways in which Spirit is expressing in the world. To know that your perspective and my perspective are uniquely our own. And in fact, if nothing else, this teaching, this new thought teaching, this practice of science of mind or religious science really is an invitation to have a personal and deep relational experience with the divine that is uniquely your own. And not to be afraid of it. Not to be afraid. Not to be afraid of what it may urge you to be. Right? What it may ask you, what it may ask of you. Because ultimately, that presence is not going to ask of you anything that's going to be against your own nature anyway. Right? So often the challenge is for us to confidently step into that, to recognize and allow. And so as we call our band members up forward, let's take a deep breath for a moment. And make a commitment today to practice seeing the light of God in everyone. Everyone? Yes, everyone. In every situation. So here's a real challenge. Put on Fox News or MSNBC, whichever one gets your Irish up, and see the good in everyone. See the good in the parking lot or on the freeway. Practice seeing that light in all beings today and cultivate that and know that's reality for you. It's reality as your commitment to spiritual practice, and take that awareness into the week. And report back next week and we'll compare notes. See how it went.
Take a deep breath and say God is. Now let it out slow and say I am. Open your mind, your inner voice will be heard. Be still and know the power of your word, whispering I am love, I am life, I am God, I am. Take a deep breath and say God is. Now let it out slow and say I am. Open your heart to what you know deep inside. Accept and rejoice in what you cannot hide. Whispering I am strength, I am truth, I am God, I am. Be grateful for the gifts you have and all that you can do. Remember the whole universe resides inside of you. Take a deep breath and say God is. Now let it out slow and say I am. Open your mind, your inner voice will be heard. Be still and know the power of your word, whispering I am love, I am life, I am God, I am. Whispering I am strength, I am truth, I am God, I am, I am, I am, I am.
Really nice, yeah? That's a Barbara Shane original. It's a beautiful song. Beautiful song. I think you've got a hit there.
I have to say, I did write it with my son,
With her son, no
my
less.
19-year-old son.
Wow. Good. Wow. Yeah. No brag, just fact.
Yeah.
All right. That's awesome.
Thank you.
All right, so as we prepare our gifts for the offering, we'll call our ushers forward.
I
I am so blessed. I am so blessed.
I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. So blessed. I am so blessed. So blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Stragglers out there. So just going within, let's take a deep breath. Going in within one more time, recognizing and knowing that the gifts presented here this morning are a demonstration of consciousness that knows and knows that it knows that God is our source, our substance, our supply. And so from the generous hearts from which these gifts have been offered here this morning. There's my God voice. Okay, from the generous heart from which these gifts have been offered here this morning, we, representing the heart of this community, accept these gifts with deep appreciation, respect, and love, as we know together they go forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless not only the life of each person here, but the vision and mission of this center and anyone connected to it. That we extend this blessing and this knowing for our friends in our community of Granada Hills, our city of Los Angeles, our state of California, our United States of America, all of its churches, temples, mosques, schools, universities, the people who attend them, the people who support them, for our planet, for the universe as well, for we recognize and know that all of it is a demonstration of the mind of spirit in expression. And to the extent that we know this to be so, we see it. We see it demonstrating in all ways, great and small. This lifts our heart. We experience a sense of grace that empowers us into ways of spiritual living that lift ourselves and others. We are grateful. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. So please help me thank our ushers this morning, our usherettes, Janet and Sandy Kelly, as we bring the youngins in. I do want to take a moment to recognize this demonstration of these beautiful flowers here today. I have a feeling that was Leslie's, one of Leslie's arrangements. Yes, thank you. And Leslie, you don't know this, but in visioning on Wednesday with Reverend Nancy and Reverend Kathy, we were expressing what came up in our visioning session, and she got, all I'm getting is sunflowers. Sunflowers.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty wild, huh? Yeah, cool. So, how we doing?
Okay, so today, what?
Well, tell them who you are.
I'm David.
David. Thank you, David.
Okay, so today we began class by playing a relay race game. During the game, sometimes people encouraged each other and sometimes they were ignored and not encouraged at all. So we asked how it felt when you were encouraged and when you weren't, and when you were ignored, and all that. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Want me to hold this?
yeah. Okay, so.
We had something we want to say to all of you. So, which means that I love
you.
Did you know that before today? I love you. Thank you. I thought that meant hook 'em horns. I thought it was a UT. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yes.
I don't want to say anything, but
Okay.
I want to get this to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, so let's give it up for the band one more time. So remember to check out the classes, and if you're planning on attending, please sign up. And it's great to see you all here. And so I'm going to ask our practitioners and ministers to circle the room as we call Suzanne up, and just knowing the complete and total victory of the Seattle Seahawks this afternoon.
Talk about dense. You can pray.
I give thanks for this beautiful service today. To all who are present and have participated fully in its creative expression, I know that we all return home safely and enjoy our Sunday in ever-present good and well-being, in ease and grace. I know that we all experience the perfection of oneness, the supported whole, the trust, the love. I release my word to the action of the law in blissful appreciation, gratitude, and love for knowing that it is done and so. And together we say, and so it is.
Please stand for the peace song.
Joyously stand.
Jeez.
Joyous.
Jeez.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let every
peace on earth, and let it begin with
Two chords.
Ken, I don't think
Two chords. The first one is called F sharp minor, right? The second one is also is known as a B dominant 7. Oh no, we'll do it. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just like the music. Dial in.
Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day.
Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day.
This healing, this healing, this healing day.
This healing, this healing, this healing day.
Say thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day.
Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day.
This healing, this healing, this healing day.
This healing, this healing, this healing day.
Say thank you.
Thank you.
I will say thank you. Won't say thank you.
Thank you.
Won't say thank you.
Wanna say thank you. Oh
Well, thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. David Olivas.
Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day.
This healing, this healing, this healing 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 day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I won't say thank you.
Wanna say thank you.
Oh yeah. I won't say thank you.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Wanna say thank you.
Wanna say thank you.
Oh,
say thank you.
yeah. I wanna say thank you.